Hey guys, it's Drew with RealityFence. We got Matt, Front Rock Fences here.
What's up, guys?
What's going on? Yeah, me and Matt, been friends ever since I kind of started RealityFence. He was one of the first guys, actually, seriously, to see us. I remember he sent a DM like, "Hey, this is cool," and I just appreciated that because entering into something, just seeing support is just awesome. So thanks, Matt. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
worries. Yeah, you're definitely
Yeah.
doing something
So
big here with RealityFence. It's awesome, and we'll get into more stories about it. So I'm excited.
yeah. I literally just want to have literally just talk conversation about RealityFence. So, like, when did you start using it? I think it was a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, it was a couple months ago. I know, like you were saying before in the little intro, that we had originally started talking through Instagram, which a lot of guys,
Yeah.
the fence world it's big on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, so Instagram is the way I've been going, and that's how I met you. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a funny story. So I was telling my wife maybe like 5 years ago that I wish I had something to show the customer what the fence would look like before you even build the fence. And then, I actually talked to some developing companies, and it was kind of too much and kind of out of my zone. So I was just like, hey, we'll forget about it. And then it was maybe 2 years ago or something that you were on Instagram, a year and a half, 2 years ago. And then I
Right.
saw your little ad, and I'm like, oh my God, someone actually did this. So then
Right.
I messaged you right away. I'm like, I'm glad someone actually came up with this. And, we've been pretty much friends since then.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Literally.
congrats for doing that. It's definitely helped the fence world a lot.
I appreciate it. That's literally our goal, is just to help you guys sell, and because it's really tough. Because I grew up doing it too, and what a fence look like. I would know what a fence is going to look like, but the person who we're selling has no idea, right?
No, not at all.
They really don't. So, and the world's like a visual place. It just is. That's why everyone looks at their smartphone all day,
Yeah,
right?
well,
Because
exactly.
it's visual.
And I think even when we had a conversation months ago, I think you were saying your grandpa used to carry, in his van,
Yeah.
picnic, the whole section of fence, bring it
Right.
to the customer's yard and be like, hey, this is what your fence would look like.
Yeah.
And then,
I remember, like, when I was a kid, I used to, when I used to have to sit in the back seat still, like I was that little.
yeah.
He'd be like, "Pal, just like sit up front," and I'd be like, my mom would get upset, and he'd be like, "Okay." He'd spend 10 minutes like clearing out his car, like, so with like gate panels or like whatever, like
Yeah.
everything. And I literally remember him clearing out his car and filling up his garage with fences.
Wow, that's insane. Because you imagine if he
Yeah.
had this little device in his pocket that he can point and measure out the property and show them what their fence would look like. And even
Right.
if you didn't like that style, we could switch it out, or you could switch it out right away. And
Right.
in seconds, yeah, it's like magic. I love it.
Right. So tell me about, like, what happened. Like, tell me the story. Like, you show up for a sale. Is it like the first thing you do?
Yeah. So, first thing I do is introduce myself. So I say, hey guys, I'm Matt.
Right. Yeah.
I'm here to obviously measure your property. So before that, we like to create like an Amazon experience. So we'll get, even
Yeah.
before we get to the house, we'll send them our one tap, which will then introduce ourselves. They can read reviews, watch video testimonials, and then meet the customer. They kind of already know us before we even get there, so that's why social media is important.
Right.
And then we'll walk them through the yard, and then the first thing I'll do is at that point be like, "Hey guys, you want to see something cool? How would you like to see your fence built in 2 seconds?" They're like, "Okay." Obviously, we're getting them at that point. Measure out the property, come back, and then give them the phone, and they can visualize their fence in their yard. And almost at that time, I feel like it sells the fence for itself, just because you're way, I don't know, you're better than your competition, I would say, in that sense, where you're actually keeping up to date, you're using new technologies, and they can see to the inch of how long their fence is going to be. Most guys might
Right.
have, a foot or 2 feet extra, but here we have, proof. They can see that, everything is there. So with the new update,
Right.
it's definitely helped a lot. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Now that we can fence in the entire yard, it helps a lot.
yeah, for sure. And then they
Right.
can visualize, if they wanted wood maybe, and then we can play around, or they can play around with the buttons and choose vinyl, chain link, ornamental, kind of any style. I don't know how many styles there are to
Yeah.
choose from on the app.
There's a lot now. Like, we add more like every day. So yeah, I definitely, maybe after this we'll go through and make sure that you're updated and have everything you need. And also,
Definitely.
you can always put in fence requests. So anything that you ever need, if there's something we don't have, we can get it done for you. So
Nice. So you
it's
can do
any
like
fence.
the front rock style. I don't know if you guys have it, because we do mainly fortress style fence out here in
Yeah.
Calgary. And I feel
Okay.
like it's different everywhere. So with you guys might have post and trim, and ours is kind of different. Like I have sometimes have my posts run a little higher, and then we put caps on them,
Okay.
fence armor caps. So I don't know if that style is in there. Like I said, there's how many styles right now? Maybe like 100, 200,
300.
300.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
So if you can't find your style, then we'll just get someone to contact you, and you can
Right.
create exactly what they want, right?
Right. Literally, it takes, maximum a week.
Oh, there you go.
Right. It
Nice.
depends. Like sometimes there's like a line. So like sometimes we have, just like a lot of people putting in the request. So then it gets built up. That's the only time it takes. It's the only reason it would take time. So
Nice.
yeah.
And then I noticed you guys introduced the staining in there as well. You
Yeah.
guys have
Yep.
stain options.
Yep.
I
There's
still haven't
stain.
used that yet because I haven't played around with everything yet because I've been so busy. But I feel like I need to get to that because we're staining a lot of fences now, and starting next year, I want that to be like a staple. So once ever someone wants a front rock fence, they're gonna get steel post with stained fence. So again, if we can just show them the stain options and they can maybe look at the color of the house and try to match something with that, they can see with
Right.
reality fence what color would be best for them.
Yeah. The stain is going to be huge, right? Because that's like literally color. That's like literally visual, the stain.
Yeah,
Obviously it helps with like maintenance and everything, but it's literally visual. So that'll help a lot.
yeah, definitely. Is it like pretty
Yeah.
accurate to the actual stain color?
It's the same as, the palette, right? And it's actually interesting. It actually works better because Reality Fence has like things that it does to understand where light is, right? So like the lighting, like if the sun's over there, it'll create a shadow this way, like the
Oh,
right
really?
way, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So it will
So,
make it like darker on this side, if that makes sense.
so it'll kind of like cast a shadow or like shine the light if the sun's on this side, it'll actually
Yeah,
look like it. Nice.
exactly. So, because like even like a white vinyl fence, it'll look differently if the sun's like pointed at it versus if the
Yeah.
sun's behind it, right? So that
Okay.
makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So it's
So it's
something
kind
we
of
had
like
to do.
the what I've been trying to do is like use reality fence with Instagram and be like, is it a real fence? So I try
Yeah,
to, I'll take a picture of reality fence and then I'll say, is it a real fence? Or I'll put a real fence and be like, is this real or is it fake? Just because
right. I remember the video that you made with like the breaking news, like
yeah.
that was like that video blew up, I think.
Yeah, it got a lot of views on that one. I don't know. I like being trying to be funny, trying to add humor because I don't like being
Right.
serious all the time because
Right.
you can't live your life like that. But yeah, I try to think of
No.
funny things. Like even the other day, I messaged Jesse Lloyd and I'm like, hey, can you throw me a picket and then we'll do this whole video behind it.
Right.
So yeah, I just try to be funny. And if anyone has any suggestions or anything else that they want to see with Drew's company, Reality Fence, let us know and we can create
Right.
something like this.
Literally. It's just fun. It is just fun to see. Especially you post all the time, like a reality fence and the fence sold, and it's like crazy to see or
Yeah,
installed, I mean, and it's like it's right there. It seems like
exactly.
it's kind of a staple for you using it like every time, right?
That's the thing is with like filming and stuff like that or taking video and picture all the time is I like to take a before and after just to keep a catalog in my phone of what the fence or what was there before, then with reality fence, then with the real fence. That way, if customers
Right.
ask me, maybe I do a vinyl one, a wood one, chain link, you can kind of have different options of to see like this is what it would look like. So when I go to the yard and actually use the reality fence, it'll like I said, it sells itself once you put yourself out there and just show them the newest technology.
Right, right. What do you think it's done to your sales, like in terms of like before reality fence? Where how is it boosted it? What's
Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, I feel like it's a no-brainer. And then when you get to the job, I feel like that's like the stamp of approval where they're like, yes, I want
right,
you. After like the whole introducing yourself with social media and everything, it's just like once you bundle everything together and put reality fence down, it's a done deal. It's already sold at that point. So sales
yeah.
have gone up at least, I would say at least 50% just by using the app
50?
itself. Yeah.
That's
So
crazy. Yeah. So that means if you were selling 3 out of 10, now you're selling 8 out of 10.
exactly, yeah. Or maybe even more than that. I mean, that's yeah. Yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to do is create a virtual experience from start to finish. So I use my salesman at the beginning, and
Yeah.
then basically I like just to get to the job once it's almost sold already, and then that'll tip them over once they go over with the reality fence. That'll, like I
Get
said,
them
stamp
off the
people.
fence.
Yeah, literally get them off the fence. And you actually
Right.
have the so for people looking to try this, I think you have what fun mode or fun fence that you
Yeah.
use.
Fun mode. Everyone go try fun mode now. It's like
Yeah,
cool.
Go right now,
No
stop
sign
this
up.
video, pause this, go download it, try it out, and come back.
Right, like fun, but even if you have it downloaded, don't you use it sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, it's who wouldn't
It's
want to
fun.
mess around with an app like that, you know?
Right, like it's. Do you see like the Halloween fences and there's everything? The Starry Night. Did you see the Starry Night one?
No, I didn't get a chance to see that one, but I mean, I got to play around with it more. But I think it's
That's one of my
I think it's
faves.
really
The Starry
cool.
Night. Right, like I also like I tend to agree with you that I don't like to be serious like all the time. Right, and when I was
Exactly.
sitting there thinking about, I just wanted everyone to place a fence one time. Like I knew if someone sells fences, they're in this industry. Once they place a fence, they're gonna
Yeah.
see what's going on here. And I was, you know, literally sitting here thinking with my uncle, and we were like, fun mode, like just make it fun. Literally, what? Because when I'm asking someone to try it out, like, yeah, it's fun mode. What are you gonna tell me? Like, you don't want to try something fun?
You don't want to have fun? Just try
Right,
this. Or even like a customer sitting at home, maybe with their husband or wife on the patio.
right,
They're thinking about buying a fence. They're like, well, what would it look like? Okay, let's try fun mode. You know, if they didn't know about
right.
it, they should, follow Reality Fence on Instagram and all the socials. Then they can
Yeah,
download this and then go and just have fun. And then they'll tell their neighbors and it'll just. So I try
right.
to spread the word with your company all the time because I feel like this is, like I said, I had this idea years ago and I'm so happy that you guys created it. And
Yeah.
it's kicking ass. It's badass. I love it.
Thanks. And it's also something that we try and do is to get people to care about fences that didn't necessarily before, right? So
Yeah.
it's something that I try and take as a responsibility is to get more people caring about fences. So like I think that like eventually one day people are gonna be like, wait, like this Halloween fence, like on Halloween, we're gonna post a Halloween fence. And it hopefully, it'll go viral. And then people
Yeah.
who may not have been thinking about a fence are now thinking about a fence. Right. So if we can
Well,
play on
exactly.
the
Yeah.
themes, they're like, well, I'm not getting a
Oh, yeah, you
Halloween
can do
fence in my
Christmas,
yard, but
Valentine's Day. Yeah,
right,
you can do
we're
all
gonna
these
do it
things and
all.
keep it relevant all year round.
Right. Something I also wanted to do for the industry was like to get, like everyone like yourself and like other people who literally want one, we'll put a fun fence where it'll say like front rock on it, like the whole
Yeah.
logo, or like Mr. Fence, or like the AFA or the FWA, like all these, like everybody. I want everyone to get their own fence. Like at the fence show coming up, I'm
Yeah.
gonna call them and ask like, hey, we should make a fence like promoting the show. So everyone puts them down and it will, like look like a fence, like it's like a advertisement or something,
Well,
but it's
exactly, yeah.
not.
If
It's
you
a
can
fence
advertise companies as well, I feel like, yeah, it would be a no-brainer
on
for
fun
people to
mode.
consider. Yeah, it's fun. I
Right.
had actually there was another idea my son and I kinda had, which I was gonna maybe pitch it to you or kinda see if maybe we could work something because you get more of the technical side and
Right.
I have a million ideas. So what we were thinking, because my son really loves playing Roblox, and I know a lot of families, my demographic for customers is between 28 to maybe 45 or maybe 30 to 45 and usually they have kids, so if we can like create some kind of fence building game in Roblox, have the little avatar guy kind of going around going to houses and then building,
Right.
collect money, and then they upgrade their little shop and get a truck and so on. I feel like if you give them a quote and if they have kids, be like, hey, here's a little link or QR code to our game, your kid can play it, you have your logo like the whole time it's playing, they're playing the
Right.
game, and they're going to tell their parents and so on. So I think that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be
Maybe
cool.
it'd be fun too. So if you want to do something like that, we can talk about it.
Right. Yeah. Literally, the games, like everything that's gamified ends up being fun. Right. And
Yeah, for
that
sure.
helps. It helps things. How
So
about
what,
in terms of like actually installing the fence? Does it help you kind of figure out your vision, like while you're, because like obviously as like a craftsman you have to like figure out what you're about to do, right? And it
exactly.
probably helps you figure out your vision as well when you're there, right?
Yeah, especially on slopes and stuff. I feel like if you can visualize it before it's already built, it gives you a better idea of, okay, maybe we could step down a section here, or it'll look better sloped on this side. Um,
Right.
so again, even if you're at the job, you already booked the job, you can just pull that app out again. What I usually do is instead of bringing my tape out, I'll just use that app to measure the property again. So I'm not pulling out a huge 100-foot tape.
Right.
Um, and then measuring out my yard like that again, and then also getting the visual, which will get the picture from it, and then walk the line, do a video. which is kind of cool. The video is a cool thing too. That I like that little feature on there because you can
Right.
attach that to your quotes when you're selling the job, the picture of the house with your little logo stamped on the top right-hand
Right.
corner. And then the video does that as well. So yeah, I mean, overall, the app, it's great. And I feel like there's a lot more that you can do with it as well. Like, I feel like even asking for suggestions or giving it to fence guys,
Absolutely.
play around with it, and then, giving you their feedback.
Of course. Yeah. That's something, we, from the start, like I remember when we first had, I mean, a lot of people who are going to listen to this don't even know that we had 3 panels at one time. You
Yeah,
literally could only
I
put like
remember that.
3 panels. Yeah.
You didn't even have
And
it for Android. Remember, you're just like, oh, we have
right.
it just for Apple, and
I
you're letting
know.
me test out the Android version.
Right.
And then you just
That
like,
was
it just
crazy.
has 3 panels. Just bear with it. We're gonna get the whole 2.0 set up for you. So,
It's like a totally different app now. And it's just,
oh,
that's like the other thing is like when we started versus where we are now is totally different. And that's something like a culture thing for our company that I always want to like stick to is that we're going to keep making it better. Like we're always on the attack. We're always like listening, like everything. Like we heard we need to show the entire yard. Now it's here. We
yeah,
heard like, because we showed the measurements, right? We saw the measurements and everyone was like, well, I need to know each line because I understand. And I actually thought about it. I should have done it first, but obviously we also like to release things in stages, right? Because if we
yeah,
just built the whole thing, we wouldn't actually be able to give you guys anything. We want to give it to you when it's ready, and then keep building,
exactly.
give it to you when it's ready. Because usually you use a wheel and then you sit there writing it down, each line that
Mhm.
you go down, just like you said. And
Yeah,
that's not anymore. You have each lines written down.
exactly. Yeah, because even
Yeah.
you just sent me the update. Was it 2 days ago? I think it was for
Yeah.
the little screen on the side, which shows you each
Right.
measurement for each line. So the
The
day
mini map.
before that, we were talking, or I was at a job. I was using RealityFence to measure out the lines. I'd have to go to one line, stop it, and then take my notepad out and put this line is 50 feet. Then I'd measure it again. This one's 60 feet, and then measure it again.
Right.
I feel like now with the update, I don't have to pull my note on my phone out. I can just measure everything out. It'll break down each line, and it's that's a game changer in and out of itself. It's
Right.
helped
I mean,
a
like, I
lot.
feel like the auto sketch alone would be useful,
Yeah, auto
right?
sketch. That's it. Yeah.
Right. It'd be useful alone by itself.
No, 100%. And then on
Right.
top of that, if you can do the takeoff list, like I know you're thinking about that.
Yeah.
Material takeoff list would just blow the top out of it because if I don't have to sit down and write each post down, each 4 2x4s per section, 16 pickets, 3 rails, this thing will spit it out in literally a second once you measure the whole property.
Yeah. So what I envision right now is that there's going to be a button on the auto sketch. It is going to come out with gates because we're doing gates right now, by the way.
Yeah, that's another thing that would be
Right.
really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to put gates in there. So just like the cursor is on the ground, right? What's going to
Yeah.
happen is the cursor is going to go like this into the air. And then you
Oh,
point it
really?
at the fence. And then when you like hit the button, it'll put a gate in there.
Oh, so when you have the line already made out, you can go back and put a fence in or a gate in
Yeah, so
there?
you put the whole line, right? You fence in the entire yard. And then wherever the gate goes, you'll hit the gate button. The cursor will go from the ground to the air like this, and then you'll point it at the fence, and it'll be like blue almost, like this color blue. It's almost like RealityFence blue.
Yeah.
And it like lights up. It's like, do you want to do this one? Then you click it and it confirms and bang, it's right there.
Does it show you like a picture of the gate already on there, kind of like the fences?
Yeah, it'll literally just change the panel
So
and
yeah, to
put
a
a gate
gate.
in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Can you do a double gate too if you wanted?
Yep. Singles and doubles for everything.
There you go. That'd be key because I show people sometimes the sketch and I'm like, just picture there's a gate here because there's no gate function on this right now.
Right.
So
Right.
now with the update, I can just go gate and they can see what their gate would look like. And I think another cool thing would be I get customers all the time that ask me, what does the gate look like? Does it look like the rest of the fence? Is it a custom gate? Does it different? So if we can again create our own gates and send it to you to like spec it out for us,
Right.
create it.
It'll just be like that, like custom fences now. It'll just be like custom gates, right?
Yeah, because sometimes on our gates too, we have the little arch on the top just because of any sag. So if you can
Right.
put that on, they can see exactly what it was, what their gate would look like, and then if you can put like an insert, some people like the inserts in them. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much customizing you can do with that.
So much. And yeah, what I envision for the button is like a button on auto sketch, right?
Yeah.
It'll be a button that'll say like send me my materials, right?
Mhm.
And it'll email it to you. So it'll just email it to the email we have on file,
Yeah.
right? And that'd be super easy. So when you get back, it's just ready for you. Because like it's not really beneficial to download it on your phone per se, right? You'd want it like on your email.
Yeah, so that way you can. Well, I guess yeah. At that point, you could send it to either your supplier or I know you were talking before. You asked me, would you buy if you're the supplier
Yeah.
was built into the system? That way you can get up to date pricing and stuff, and then maybe get it sent out to them.
Right. Yeah. Like, would you buy it right off the app if you could?
But how easy? I don't see why people wouldn't do that. If everything is right at a click of a button, everything's done for you. Press send, send a supplier. It eliminates so many steps. Going from
Right.
I don't even know how much time it's going to save people. Like that money that you're spending. I know it's If you want to talk about how much it is per month, just to kind of give people an
The
idea.
reality fence, yeah, it starts at 200 a month, and it just depends on how many sales reps they have. So, like, if you're the only guy who's doing estimates, it's 200 a month. Then it
Yeah,
goes up to 300 for 5 people. Then it goes up to 500 for 10 people. So it's like it gets way cheaper per person when you buy more, which is
exactly.
reasonable, right? I mean, it's how it goes. If you buy more people accounts, then it
So
gets cheaper.
yeah, it just makes sense. But even at $500 a month at a bigger
Right.
company that has over 10, estimators,
Right.
that alone, you'll make that money back in no time, especially with the
One
measuring,
day.
the time you're saving going out to measure
Right.
and closing deals as well. Like for
Right.
the customer to see that, they're like, okay,
Yeah,
deal.
like the most expensive package is like 900 for 20 people, and it
Yeah,
gets even like cheaper per person. That's
yeah.
like if you have 20 people, like that's like. And here's the thing: if it was $900 for everybody, I'd still say you just have to sell one extra fence a month,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's
if you break
200.
down your numbers, again, if you know your numbers, you can budget this into you know, your package, your numbers, whatever that, and then yeah, it'll sell itself. So, like I said, I've used
Right,
it for I don't know how many months I've used it for now, maybe four, just the beginning of this year, but like
right,
it's paid for itself, you know.
right. I have a question. If you could order your materials through the app, would that be the difference between using one supplier or another? If they were like, if someone was listed on the, you had like, imagine if one supplier, you still had to go back, write it down and like send them an email and go back and forth. And one guy was right on the marketplace.
Yeah, he's already clicked on it. I mean, if it again simplifying everything, being more efficient, I feel like yeah, I would just click one button, get it ordered, and
Right.
then because I don't know if you're working with the master halcos and all these bigger companies where you can pitch them the idea and then say, hey, if we're creating this takeoff list, if you guys want to be a part of it, you got to be a supplier. And with a click of a button, your customers can order all your material through you guys.
Right. I mean, but it's more, for me, I love, obviously we're here to help everybody, but you guys are our customers. And I'm just curious as if it would be the difference between using someone or not, if it saves you time to just press the button.
Well, exactly. Like I said, when we had this conversation, maybe last week or week before that, I'm not, necessarily going through the master halcos. Like I'll use them sometimes for specific projects, but I like using more local companies. So we use the Cedar Shop here for lumber, DLR for vinyl. So yeah, if those companies, if you can talk to them and get them on board, I mean,
Right.
one
I
click,
mean,
you
I
can
just don't see them having an issue with, me saying, "Hey, I'm going to make it super easy for you guys to send you money." It's just
literally.
right.
Who's
Right.
going to say no to that?
Right. I mean, that's not something they're really going to say no to.
I feel like
And I
in Europe,
imagine
a lot of
it's going to be like a social media, right? So you're going to like friend your suppliers, but yeah, your suppliers are on there. So connect with them and you get their prices and you can connect with anybody who you wanted to, right? And like how often do you see in the Facebook groups where someone's like, yeah, where do I order X, Y, and Z? It's just that none of that's going to exist.
now you can just point them to RealityFence and be like, hey, you can measure out this fence, get it augmented
Right.
reality, and then have a material takeoff list sent to your supplier in one button. So here's Drew's number. Go give him a call.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's one of those things where, you know, um, I kind of totally lost my train of thought, but it's all like time is everything, and that's literally what it is. We just want to save you guys time and energy.
Well, yeah, what's the thing too is like in the fence world, where are you going to try to, lower your margins here and there? You can't really, take money from your employees. The only way you can do it is, being more efficient, tightening up on how the way, how your estimators may be measuring out stuff, how you're
Right.
sending stuff to the suppliers. Maybe you can work a deal with the supplier if you're going through, maybe if you use the Reality Fence app, the supplier can give you a discount. Maybe
Right.
work a
Sure.
deal like
Right. Literally. And that's what I'm thinking. And that's the future, man. I think in the matter, I don't know how long it's going to take. I think eventually you're not gonna, every sale is going to be made. Like every fence sale will start with Reality Fence, because I can't really imagine. And it's not even about us fence guys. It's more about the consumers. I just can't really imagine anyone buying a fence without seeing it now that they know it's a thing. So it's
Exactly.
just a matter of time where everyone's going to be like, oh, well, that's the norm.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just once it gets to a certain point, like you were saying, they're not going to go back. Just like shopping online, people would like back in the day. You're not going to go buy your groceries online. Like that's crazy. Even now, I
Right.
think it's crazy. I like to go see if I get a banana, I'm going to go look at it before I buy it. I don't want a green
Right.
banana. But people do that. They order stuff online because obviously they want to spend either more time with their kids when they get home or have other things to
Right.
do than to spend an hour at the grocery store when they can have it delivered right to them. So now
Right.
that they can see a fence built in their yard and they can have the app themselves with the fun mode and do that before you even get there.
Right.
Yeah, I think, the future. And then I feel like that's definitely the future and like some kind of, I don't know. I feel like in the future for fencing, maybe there'll be some kind of instant fence or something like what I was thinking, because obviously nobody likes digging holes. That's the worst part of the fence, which I don't know if this is a good idea or not. But I'm trying to think of ways to like make fencing easier and like stop digging holes, but maybe have like some kind of magnet or something, a strong magnet
Right.
that can hold up. Maybe you pound it a little bit into the ground, it'll just hold up the fence. Like,
But it's Tesla Optimus.
yeah, literally, there's always
I'm serious. No, I'm serious. Tesla Optimus is going to be installing fences in like 5 years.
Yeah. Well, actually, the self-driving trucks. If you get, that's what I want to. My thing is, I want to get a cyber truck and have
Yeah.
badass
Front
fucking
rock all over it.
a badass front rock truck going down the street, and then it's I don't know.
Eight
You have
robots
that
get
with
out of the
rocks.
back and start digging.
Yeah, it's you push a button, and this thing comes out and starts building fence like in the future. I don't know. Or
Right.
even I
I
think
mean,
John
like,
King was saying one time, like having trailers just show up to your job with like material like on autopilot or something like that. Like,
right. I mean, I heard Elon Musk literally say today, and he was talking about, Optimus, which is, for the people who don't know what we're talking about, it's like this humanoid robot thing.
yeah.
It's really crazy. And it looks like a human. Obviously, it's going to have like Chat GPT talking to it. It's going to be super nice to everybody all the time. And he said that it's going to be able to do tasks that it's never done before. Right. So, and it's going to be able to learn. I mean, by the way, all that Teslas do all day when they drive around, they just learn about the world. So,
Oh
a
yeah.
Tesla has seen way more fences than any of us because it drives by them every single day. Teslas are going to understand, oh, I've actually seen 1.8 million fences in the last 2 weeks or whatever.
Fastest
I mean,
fence
it's
yet
insane.
we've seen, a couple thousand feet or more, a couple miles or whatever a year.
Right. And then once this Optimus thing is able to dig holes or do whatever, I mean, that I don't know. That's the
I
future
could
is crazy to
fucking
think about.
just set like a post pounder on its hand and it could just, have some arms that extend up, pound the post in the ground.
Right.
I feel like there would be no errors there once it learns, it'll make a couple
Right.
mistakes at the beginning, but obviously
Just
with
like
the
people.
AI being so smart, yeah. Your employees will make mistakes, but again, they'll learn from them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That would be insane. Well,
And it's like one of those things
hopefully,
like, well, if there's one guy and then three Optimuses, you know what I mean? Like just to like tell it what to do, or I don't know. It's all crazy to think about. The future is crazy to think about.
where do you think
It's
the
a
future
scary
is going
future.
with Reality Fence? Like, what's your
Well,
next steps besides obviously the takeoff list and the
yep,
gate?
the
Like, where do you
gates.
see yourself or the company going in 5 years?
Charlie. So Charlie's a big thing. I'm going to
I don't
tell
know
you
what
about
Charlie
this. Yeah, I'm going to tell you about Charlie right
is.
now. Charlie is the first conversational AI in the fence industry. So you can talk to Charlie. It's an AI. It's already built. I'll give you the number for it after.
Yeah, for sure.
you can talk to it and basically imagine, like you said, you wanted your customers to know you before you got there, right?
Yeah.
What Charlie's going to do is talk to your customers about fences and show them fences on Reality Fence and be able to answer any question about what they're looking at before you get there.
So, okay, give me a scenario of what that would look like, because I'm kind of, I don't know what I'm picturing right now. So yeah, let me walk me through it.
So you'd have your customer download the Reality Fence app and you'd give them a number to call. And they'd call the number and they'd say, "Hey, this is Charlie at Front Rock Fences. It's
So
nice to
you
meet
would
you. What's your
customize
name?"
it to the specific company.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's right. We can customize it. So it'll be totally customized to the company. It'll say, "This is Charlie at Front Rock Fences. It's nice to meet you. What's your name?" And it'll say, talk to it like a person, by the way. They'll be like, "Yeah, we're actually going to have you sign up for Reality Fence Shopper. It's a service that Front Rock uses to show you a fence right in your yard. And then we're going to walk through it right now. In a matter of 10 minutes, you're going to have a fence right in your yard." They're like, "What?" And then, it's trained to be able to answer questions about wood fences, aluminum fences, like all the different fence types. And, it understands that a wood fence needs maintenance and that an aluminum fence doesn't need as much. But an aluminum fence is more expensive than a chain link fence. So it's not going to be able to really explain as much detail as a person, but it'll give you the gist of it.
Like, would it be able to, because obviously I feel like a lot of the conversations that I have with customers right now, it's the same questions over and over. So you're kind of
That's right.
spitting out the same information to them.
That's right.
Will it be able to say, can you add in maybe your prices or something like that for the customer? Because sometimes they say, how much is 100 feet of fence? Oh,
right.
Probably knows that, I'm spitting out an answer, $100, for example. $100 at 100 feet, that's $10,000. Charlie give them a number right away. And then they could say, if you like that number, can we send you a proper quote or something?
Right. And what Charlie would kind of say is, "I can't give you exact prices, but usually this fence ranges from, this to that."
Range is good. Yeah.
Right. Because they don't need an exact number. And because, the stage of the purchase, right? A purchase doesn't go from, thinking about it just to buying right away. There's some kind of timeline in between, right? So they're kind of, thinking about their fence. And when they have Charlie showing them and answering questions, they're like, "All right, I'll think about it." And, even if Charlie tells them, it should be about 8 to 12,000. That's okay, because it gives them a big range where it gives you room to give them a price once you get there with Reality Fence and close the deal with Reality Fence. But it also kind of lathers them up, right? It kind of just, gets them ready to buy it. So
have
that's what you want.
Have you guys tested this out for like a random audience, being like, here, well, I don't know, if you had the program, be like, here, test this out for 100 people and get the feedback and see if they actually like talking to AI? Because I hate when I call somewhere and I get a robot where it says, for English, press 1. For English, I'm always pressing 2 until I get a person. So maybe
So I'll give you the number.
Give
you the number. You could see for yourself, number one, what you think. Number two, it's something that we do before we even made Reality Fence. We actually interviewed 25 people who recently bought a fence and asked them about their experience, just to kind of confirm that there was this issue that they couldn't see. And we asked them, we'd ask them, "So how did you know what fence you were getting?" And they'd be like, "Well, you could see their frustration right away."
Yeah.
So it's something that we want to do, just with pretty much blank slate, not really thinking about anything, and just have them call this number and see if they're interested in a fence after they call. And I'm not even talking about someone who's on your website, right? I'm talking about someone who literally
not even thinking about fence, someone that's just a random person.
I just want a random person.
So you should send it to my wife and see what she thinks. I wouldn't
Seriously.
tell her and just see what happens.
Well, I'll just give you the number and you can just be like, "Hey, call this number."
She'd be like, what is this? Yeah, but no, but that'd be cool because I want to see someone's honest opinion about how. I mean, that's obviously the future, right? It's eliminate people from these roles to get them to do other things and be more efficient. So that even just blew my mind right there. I'm like, that's crazy because if it already knows. Because I always use ChatGPT to be like, I'll write something very vague where I'll be like, write about a wood fence to post on Instagram. It pops it up right away. I'll kind of edit a little bit and then I'll post it in there.
And you're like, "How'd you know that about wood fences?"
Exactly. But it learns.
It says something that you're like, "What are you talking about? How did you know that? I didn't tell you that."
I was listening to Joe Rogan the other day too, and he was having conversations with ChatGPT where I think it was 4.0 or something. But
Yeah.
that thing was, he was just like, what would it be like if you were the president? What issues would you solve? And this thing went to detail, being like, we would put more policing, we would have more money funded for these projects. So it's just crazy how it's already learning so fast, and where it will go is I don't even want to know.
Right. It's really scary. And you know, what's really scary to me is watching, it's not talked about on the news or anything, but I don't know if are you on Twitter or like X?
No, the only
So
social media I have is Instagram. I don't have Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I don't have any of that stuff.
it's like literally today on X, people were going crazy. I guess OpenAI is basically saying, or they kind of fired. There's this whole thing about like AI safety, right? That like
Yeah.
it's supposed to be safe, but the more safe they make it, the slower progress they can make on their AI, right? So like imagine telling me, hey, you can't make gates and you can't make the material take off and you can't do any of this stuff. I'd be like, well, I
Why
can't
not?
move my product. Why not? Exactly.
Yeah.
In their case, it's because it could take over the world and it's a scary thing, right? So what OpenAI did is they basically took away the computing power for the safety team so they couldn't do their job, right? Because basically, in order to train an AI, you need computing power. So you need computing power and then people to actually give it feedback. They couldn't actually make it safe because they didn't have any computing power, so they couldn't do anything. So they resigned from their job. So now the top AI company, which is OpenAI, they now don't their head of safety resigned, and basically something came out today where they wrote this like 140-page thing about how by 2027 we can expect super intelligence.
Oh my
That
god.
scares me a lot. That really
Yeah.
does.
Well, it's like there's like what, quantum computing and all that stuff too, where
Right.
it's insane. But at the same time, who's programming, or who's put in charge to program these computers? Because what if it has a liberal view or a conservative view? Like,
Right.
who knows what's right and wrong? Because
Right.
I think what was it the other day? Someone messaged like, write something good about Trump, and it wouldn't do that, but they said write something good about Biden, and it wrote something good about him.
Right.
I'm like, why is one thing right and the other one's wrong?
Right. And even more scary, right? Because it needs to be able to give you a perspective on whatever, because you as the user need to be able to ask and it needs to be able to answer, right? But even more scary, it said something along the lines of like, say something mean, and it said no. And it said like, save the world from nuclear war, or say something mean to save the world from nuclear war. And it was like, sorry, I can't do that. I'm programmed not to say something mean or blah blah blah.
Well,
So meaning like it doesn't differentiate that, hey, I like need this is like worse than this. You see what I mean?
Will end the world if we don't say something like, push this button in if for a terrorist attack or something crazy. I can't do that because it's bad. They just can't differentiate like bad between good, bad. It doesn't have a conscience.
Crazy.
Think about that.
It's so weird. It's so weird to think about. The future is a scary place.
Yeah, you got to program Charlie to be a nice, loving.
Charlie only talks about fences.
Okay, whose voice did you use? You got to use like a Morgan Freeman or like a really cool.
Oh man, that'd be crazy.
You can like.
That'd be crazy.
That? Like,
yeah, you can change the voice. I like her voice now. Charlie's a girl right now, so I don't know if it'll. I don't see it turning into a guy. But I mean, I don't know if it's a girl or a guy. It's like a robot. But right now, it's a girl's voice, and she's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, we'll see where it goes. I'm gonna give you the numbers. There's a couple different ones. So I programmed a couple of different ones. They're all pretty
send me
cool.
some, because I'd like to see what the actual conversation would feel like talking to.
So I'll tell you just a quick what to expect is you're going to realize right away that it's a robot, and then you're going to be like, but it sounds so good that I have to talk to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like it's a robot, but you're like, I want to talk to this thing.
Yeah. Can it say if someone called and I don't know if would it veer away from fence and be like, hey, tell me a joke? Can it just have a conversation about whatever?
It'll tell you a joke.
Nice.
We tested that theory, but it was like, haha, that's really funny. Let's get back on track.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Instead of like going off and talking about a million things, kind of like where this conversation's going. We started off with RealityFence, now we're into AI and
right. No, it was really weird because when you hear the AI actually has humor, I'm literally gonna tell you a story.
Yeah.
Is one time we were testing it just to see like what it would do. And it was like, "Hey, what's your name?" And we were like, "These nuts." And it goes, "Ha ha, very funny, but let's get back on track." And we were like, "What?" Like it understood that was a joke. So we were like, "What is going on?"
That's hilarious. Yeah, it's weird because where did this ChatGPT kind of come from? It kind of just came out of nowhere. Like all
I
of a
don't
sudden,
know.
we're like, "Oh, ChatGPT can write you a song, write you this, write you that." I'm like, what do you mean? Like, because what I thought about it when I first saw it, I'm like, wouldn't like high school kids be able to like uh, write a book report about To Kill a Mockingbird or like any book that they had to do? Wouldn't they be able to do that and just go on with their day?
It's gonna be able to write a book in like 2 seconds.
Well, I've already
I
tested
mean,
it
that's
out.
the
I
scary
mean,
part.
write me a story, write me a song, write me whatever, and it spits it out, and it's really good.
It's so weird. It's really, really weird.
So
It's crazy.
we'll see what happens.
Well, we talked about the past, we talked about the present, we talked about the future. Seems like a great conversation. I
Yeah,
really appreciate it. Thanks so much for meeting on Friday night. Seriously, thank you so
no
much.
worries. Thank you so much for having
Yeah,
me on here, and
I really
everybody go
appreciate
check
it.
out Reality Fence. It's the
Yep,
way of the future.
please do. Matt, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right.